Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee, and welcome to this card making paper crafting tutorial. Here is this fun shaker card that I have to share with you today, featuring the Adventurous Sky bundle from Stampin' Up. So let's get started. Let me show you how I made this. This is the stamp set, and we're going to stamp this aeroplane and all these clouds. So let's get, as I said, started. I'm going to use a block here, and I'm stamping a Memento Tuxedo black, but I will be doing some colouring using the Stampin' Blend alcohol markers. So let's stamp that one plane down like that, and then as always I'm going to clean up as I go along. And now we're going to stamp some of these clouds. So I'm just collecting them here. Here's the big cloud. And again in the same Tuxedo Memento black. And as always I clean up as I go along. It makes a huge difference. And then smaller block for my other cloud. And put that back in its home. And then our last little cloud here. There we go. And don't worry, we are going to be cutting all of these images out after we've coloured them, so it doesn't matter that they're all so close to each other. And now I'm just going to ink up and stamp my sentiment. It says happy birthday. Okay, so let's clear the decks a little bit and make some space for ourselves. And now we're going to colour in, and we're using, as I said, the Stampin' Blend alcohol markers. And the colours I'm using here are Cherry Cobbler, Real Red, Smoky Slate and Basic Black. So I was inspired to make this card, though it doesn't look like a red arrows. We don't live far from the home of the red arrows, so I wanted to make my card look a bit like a red arrows card. So I'm going in here with the darker colour, and this is Cherry Cobbler. And I'm just adding shadows where I think there would already be shadows, excuse me, and just gently going in, staying in the lines. It is a very sketchy stamp set, so don't worry about being totally precise, just do your best. And I'm just putting colour down mainly where I see the sketch lines on the original image, as you can see here, and just sort of outlining some of the image. And for that I'm just using the darker of my Cherry Cobbler, and then I'm going to go in with the lighter now of the Real Red and start to blend some of that out. And I'm just taking my time because I find red always bleeds where you don't want it to bleed. So I'm just taking a bit of care and caution as I put together this little image. Now I have to say, this image, the Adventurous Sky bundle, was not one I initially bought when the Stampin' Up catalogue went live back in May, but I have since purchased it obviously, and I love it. It really is a fun card. You could use this for a lot of men's cards. You can also use it just for general, thinking of you cards, all sorts of things. And since that, I live in Lincolnshire in the UK, and Lincolnshire is an RAF county. We have a lot of old RAF bases here. I thought it was really quite appropriate, including Scampton, which used to be the home of the Red Arrows. They've moved to the south of the city now to Waddington, but you still see them flying overhead all the time. So, I felt it was appropriate to have this stamp set in my stash. So you can see here I'm just going back over the red, adding in shadows until I'm happy with what I have. I do this quite often. I tend to go backwards and forwards between the dark and the light, maybe medium tone, until I've achieved something I'm happy with. It's much easier to add ink than it is to take it away, so I tend to do this a lot. I build up the layers of interest, build up the layers of colour until I achieve my final version that I'm actually happy with. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with some of my Smoky Slate, and I'm going to use this for the rest of the plane. And here again I'm just going in with the darker version, adding in the highlights and the shadows and whatever else, and then I will blend it all out again with the lighter colour of Smoky Slate. And some of these little wires and cables are very thin, so I'm trying to be as careful as I can, but I know I'm not totally successful, so it's not the end of the world if you're not. It will still look rather cute. So now I'm going to go in again with my lighter colour and try and blend all of that out to get a very simple card. We don't use a lot of colours on this card. It's maybe grey, black, blue, red, and stays very much within that side of the colour wheel. So are you an airplane spotter? Do you like planes? I have to say I'm not an airplane spotter. I don't really know one plane from the next. I'm just very happy that they fly up in the sky and they stay there most of the time. Of course I know the red arrows. I think anyone in the UK does. They're very, very distinctive, but otherwise, yeah, I'm not a great plane spotter, so let me know. Is that something you're into, or do you like trains? Anything like that. Alright then, as you can see here, I did finish colouring off camera, and I cut everything out using the matching Adventurous Sky dies. I then cut out a frame here using the Countryside Corners dies, and this is just cut out of real red cardstock. And you can see here, this is a piece of Designer Series paper, and this is just a piece of Boho Blue Designer Series paper, and using the same die I've cut out a little shaker window, and now I'm just going to add in my frame on the top here, very simply like that. Lovely. So this all matches in with what's happened before. Now we're just going to add a little bit of acetate to the back here. So I'm just using my cutout piece to try and figure out how much acetate I really need, so I don't have too much. And then I'm just going to use some seal, because I feel if I use the wet glue it might splodge right all over the acetate, so I don't want that to happen. Okay, so now we've got our clear shaker window. Right, and I realise here at this point that I've made a boo-boo, so I'm taking my acetate back off, and the boo-boo I made is that this is my card base here, and the card base is boho blue as well. I want to know where to put my little backing piece because I want it to look seamless if possible. So I'm going to put this down just very gently, and then I'm going to lay in my backing piece like that, and then take the rest of it away. There we go. Now stick that down properly. Now I can put the acetate back on my front piece to create my window, and you can see here it looks seamless, which is what I was hoping for in the end. Okay, so now we're going to need to make our shaker pocket. So in order to do that we need to get some foam strips, and here I've got some foam strips, so I'm just going to take the backing off. If you take the backing off they become much more malleable, and you can bend them round your project much more easily, which is what I'm going to try and do today. Just bend it round just like that, and now we've created our shaker pocket. Okay, so let's clear that away. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add a little bit more tape in the other areas of the cardstock, so that the other areas of the Designer Series paper, so it doesn't all fall flat, so it all has even dimension. And I'm just using some old foam tape that I have in my stash. I don't know where this is from or how long I've had it, but it's a long time. So I'm just trying to use up what I've got. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to put down our little shakers. Now I'm using some red shaker elements from my stash. I've got a lot of shaker sequins and I'm trying to use up what I've got, so I'm going to use my shaker sequins here, and I'm just going to put a little here into a rectangle tray. I'm just going to pull these as many as I want, just to the center of my shaker window. There we go. Now we're going to take the backings off everything here, off all of our foam tape, and we're going to lay this flat down on top of our shaker window, and hopefully everything should line up and look half decent, which it does. Lovely. There we go. Shaky, 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 shake. Perfect. Alright then, so now we're going to arrange our die cuts. So we've got our plane here, and then we've also got our clouds and our sentiment. So I'm just using some Tombow mono adhesive. Now I should say, if you've enjoyed this project, please do remember to give it a thumbs up so YouTube know, and don't forget to subscribe to future videos. If you want more information about the project, the supply list, the measurements, etc., you'll find that listed and linked in the description box below, and you'll also find it all on my blog post. So there we go. So now I'm just putting down my clouds wherever I feel they should go. Like that. And I was just using my block there to hold everything in place, because there's an awful amount of dimension on this card and you don't want anything coming up, so I'm just using my block here to keep everything in place as much as possible. Okay, so last few bits here, finishing touches. I'm just going to put a few of our little sequins here and there and everywhere, so just going to bring them back. They're here in the still here in the tray, and I'm just going to dot them randomly across my card. No rhyme or reason to what I'm doing, except sticking them to me, of course. Okay, you can use as many or as few as you want, it's really up to you. Okay, enough as good as a feast. There you go, they're the two cards. So I hope you liked them. If you did, as I said, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to future videos. So thank you again, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.